Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Learning Room. This is Lecture 12 of our crash course in morphology. This is part 2 of the topic approaches in morphology. In this lecture, we will discuss the second approach, the Lexeme-Based Approach. If you are not familiar with the first approach, Morpheme-Based Approach, please watch Lecture 11. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to compare the two approaches, understand their strengths and limitations, and see how they contribute to the broader study of morphology. As we have already discussed that there are 3 principal approaches to morphology, and each tries to capture different aspects. And this lecture is all about second one, which is known as Lexeme-Based Morphology, which normally makes use of an item and process approach. Let's dive into it. Lexeme-Based Morphology. This approach shifts its focus from breaking words into morphemes to understanding how entire words, or lexemes, change through different processes. This approach normally makes use of an item and process approach. Because in this approach, instead of arranging small units, we apply rules or operations to a base form in order to create new word forms. So, rather than analyzing a word as a sequence of morphemes, this approach explains a word as the result of a process applied to a stem or lexeme. In simple word, in this approach, a word form is said to be the result of applying rules that alter a word form or stem in order to produce a new one. So a word is treated as a lexeme, and we study the asterisk set of rules and processes which are used and applied on the lexeme to change its star. For example, a verb like walk can become walked by applying a past tense rule, or teach becomes teacher by applying a derivational process. This approach is especially useful for understanding how words change and relate to each other, rather than simply how they are divided into parts. Now let's talk about its strengths. One important strength of the Lexeme-based approach is that it handles inflection very effectively. In this approach, different word forms are not treated as separate items. Instead, they are treated members of a single lexeme. This allows us to group related forms together in a meaningful way. For example, if we take the lexeme go, it includes forms like go, goes, went, and going. Even though these forms look quite different, especially went, they are all part of the same lexical unit. This makes it easier to organize what we call inflectional paradigms, where all forms of a word are systematically arranged and studied together, which is especially useful in understanding tense, aspect, and agreement. Now let's look at another strength of the Lexeme-based approach, which is that it avoids over-segmentation. Over-segmentation refers to a situation where we try to break a word into smaller parts, even when those parts do not have any real or meaningful linguistic value. In traditional morpheme-based analysis, there is sometimes a tendency to forcefully divide words into morphemes. However, not all words can or should be divided in this way. This is where the Lexeme-based approach becomes useful. Instead of forcing a segmentation, it simply treats a word as another form within the same lexeme. For example, take the word when if we try to analyze it morphologically, we cannot break it into meaningful morphemes that are related to the base verb go. There is no visible or productive morphological connection between go and went at the surface level. So in this paradigm, we have forms like go, goes, going, and went, all grouped under one lexeme, without trying to artificially break one into morphemes. This makes the analysis cleaner, more realistic, and linguistically more accurate. Now we move to 2 more important strengths of Lexeme-based morphology. First, it is very useful for explaining irregular forms. In many languages, not all word forms follow regular patterns. Some words change completely in unexpected ways, which we call suppletion and irregular morphology. For example, we say good, better, best. These forms do not follow a regular rule of adding affixes, yet they are still understood as belonging to one unit. Lexeme-based morphology explains this clearly by treating all of them as different forms of a single lexeme rather than separate words. Second, this approach matches what we know about the mental lexicon. In our minds, words are not stored as isolated pieces. Instead, speakers tend to organize words in families based on meaning and relationships. So when we think of a word like good, we also mentally connect it with better and best. This approach aligns well with that cognitive storage system, where related word forms are linked together rather than treated as completely independent entries. In short words, it reflects how words may be stored in the mental lexicon, where speakers recognize word families rather than isolated morphemes. So overall, Lexeme-based morphology helps us understand both irregular word patterns and how words are actually organized in the human mind. Now let's look at some limitations of Lexeme-based morphology. The main issue with this approach is that it gives less attention to the internal structure of words. In other words, it does not strongly focus on how smaller meaningful units, called morphemes, combine to form complex words. For example, take the word unhappiness. Internally, this word is made up of 3 parts, un plus happy plus ness. Each part carries meaning and plays a role in building the final word. However, a purely lexeme-based approach tends to treat the word as a whole unit rather than carefully analyzing how these morphemes are structured and combined. So, while it is good for treating words as lexical families, it is less effective when we want to break words down into their smallest meaningful components. This is why lexeme-based morphology is often complemented by other approaches, especially when detailed word structure analysis is needed. Let's discuss 2 more limitations of lexeme-based morphology. First, it provides a limited explanation of word formation processes. This means it does not clearly describe how new words are built in detail. Processes like prefixation, suffixation, and compounding are much more systematically explained in morpheme-based approaches. For instance, while we can see that words are formed, the exact step-by-step mechanism of how these affixes attach is not fully analyzed in a lexeme-based model. Second, it is also less suitable for productive derivation. In many languages, speakers continuously create new words using regular patterns. However, lexeme-based morphology does not always capture this dynamic process of word creation effectively. It is stronger in organizing existing word forms, but weaker when explaining how new words are actively produced in a language. So, in short, while lexeme-based morphology is useful for organizing word families, it has limitations when it comes to explaining detailed word formation processes and productivity in language. That's all for today's lecture. The word-based approach will be covered in the next lecture. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next lecture.